Good evening, one and all. Hope you're all well. Welcome to Suzuka in the land of the rising sun. Look at that. What a postcard picture, eh? So, tonight, round 3 of the CXR Racing World GT3 Championships. And as usual, I have my cohorts, Phil and Ruben. Good afternoon, or good evening, chaps, actually.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, Phil.
Yep, good evening, Mark and Ruben.
Oh,
should be a good race.
There's the voice of doom and gloom there.
The voice
Cheer
of doom
up.
and gloom. I'm
you sound so
happy.
depressed.
No, I'm just
Jesus.
a bit on the old tired flex, but yeah, I'm all good. We'll push through.
No,
This should be an awesome race anyway. Suzuka always one of the favorite F1. Yeah, it's one of the favorite kind of tracks that I like. I enjoy when the F1 goes there. So it's quite technical in places. It's got your long straights,
high speed corners.
Corners. The turn one, turn 2 can be quite challenging. Obviously, we've got some talented drivers in here though, so I'm sure
they'll make mincemeat of it, no doubt.
Exactly.
The original SS.
Like for track temperature. Track temperature 36 degrees.
36?
Ambient temperature 22 degrees.
No, the track temp is 23.
Oh, it says on the overlay 36.
Yeah, but that's not right.
God, one job. That's it, one job. We'll check in a sec. I take it you're looking at telemetry in the game room.
Yeah.
What? Sorry?
In the what?
Wow, wait. military?
The military. I've never.
You gotta
Telemetry?
Right. Championship table. There we go. Let's get into it. Oh, it's going to be hard. So we've got an overlay then, Phil. Or do you want me just to run through it?
Let me just take a look.
So Phil's going to take a
Medium
look.
prime.
We're looking at it. All right.
So Ruben's been having some Spanish lessons. So Juame Torres.
No, Jauma.
Jaume Torres. Sorry, because he's not from Spain. He's from Catalonia. He gets upset, I think, or something along those lines. So anyway, he's currently leading. 2 wins out of 2 on 50 points. And Peter Smith, pretty sure I said that right. And Nacho Gaspar, with an R on the end. Currently tied in second on 42 points each, both with a second and a third so far this season. Luke McKeon and Mark Fletcher also on 34 points, back in 4th and 5th, and Stephen Bird on 30 in 6th. So quite a lot still to play for, round 3 out of 8. Just having a little look. 24 riders and riders so far that have scored points, so that's looking good. It is early in the season, so there's still plenty to play for. We've got 30 drivers tonight, I believe. So all up for grabs.
Yeah, looking back at the practice session before this qualifying session, I hope qualifying is going to be as close as the practice, because the top 4 was divided by 6 thousandths of a second.
Ouch.
4 cars within 6 thousandths of a second. That's insane.
That's
I haven't seen that on iRacing before, so close.
No, and also a little spoiler. I don't think it was any of the normal drivers in the top 3, was it?
Well, two of
The
them.
winners so far?
Luke McKeon, I think, set the fastest lap time, if I saw that correctly. Then we have Peter Smith in P2. Let me have a little look-see. It was Stephen Bird. And who was the other one?
So they're all from the top 6 so far. So just as you're saying that, Stephen Bird and Luke McKeon getting their hot laps in. First ones to do so, 158.8 from Stephen Bird and 159.2 from Luke McKeon.
Yeah, so Luke was indeed the fastest. Then 1,000th of a second behind him was Peter Smith.
Who's
1,000th of a second behind Peter Smith was Stephen Bird. And then we had another driver. Well, I can't find him. Oh, there was Nacho Gaspar.
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 You're right, now you sound got a cough.
A little bit. So yeah, looking forward to this race. As we've said, it's a
be good. I don't think we've been here before. If we, Phil reminds me, I don't think we have.
Yeah, I believe we have with one. Yeah, but not with the GT3s. So it hasn't been on the last 2 or 3 seasons.
I don't think it was with the Mazdas, because it would take 2 days to get round, wouldn't it?
Unless we did the shorter circuit, maybe.
Sorry, I'm just reading the text on the stream there. One for you, Ruben.
Phil, I've got a request from Race Control. If we can let a 4th steward in, Craig.
Yeah, sure.
So they'll be sorted.
It was better to have more stewards in.
There you go. Sorted. Right, so how are we going out there on track? So 16 people have stuck laps in so far. Still Peter Smith on provisional pole, 158.6 ahead of Stephen Bird and Mark Fletcher. As I say that, Luke McKeon has just put in a hot lap at 158.5 and takes pole. So, as we normally see, there'll be a good tango towards the end of quali.
And Peter Smith jumps into pole again.
There we go. We are tangoing away.
We're tangoing away.
So it should be close. Hearing various rumours that McLaren's not so great on this track and the Beamers go a bit slippy slidey after a few laps, but we're all in the same boat, I suppose, at the end of the day. It'll be who can manage their tyres the best that could well get a good result tonight. Quite a long track, as you can see. The times are nearly 2 minutes long. Someone's just spun it ahead there.
Yeah. Well, what I think, Mark, with the cars, though, is that, I mean, I've driven McLaren myself in one of the official practice sessions last night, and you've got some tracks where you sort of can really attack the track and attack the turns, but in this case, I think it's more of being a little bit more cautious and find that flow of the track, which Suzuka has a really nice one. So I think that's where sort of the difference is, that you can't really attack the turns, especially turn 1, turn 2. 130R, obviously one of the most famous turns of all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we'll have to wait and see. I reckon the Audi probably is one of the better cars for tonight's track, but we'll have to wait and see, of course.
I'm very disappointed with the uptake of the Fezzer in this season, I must admit, even though I do like the Beamer. But there you go. Very sad. Very sad. Right, just having a little look. We're still waiting for to punch in a lap. Let's have a quick little canders at the...
Mohamed Janko, Jaume Torres, Jess White, and Paul Monet still have to set a lap time. Although
Torres,
I think,
as you just say that,
exactly,
right on the button, goes into 5th.
There you go.
In fairness, they have actually been out. They just haven't put a clean lap in yet. So, and Jez White's on his first hot lap, I think. Looking at it.
Oh, gee. Oh my god. I'm just reading the chat on Twitch. And Craig's in the house. Right, so do we have anyone on a quick lap? Yes, Luke McKeon seems to be on a good lap, or a decent lap. Thank you for the subscription, Soymanka. Oh wow, Elmo, 2054. Cheers for the 5 level 1 subscriptions. Much appreciated. So thank you for the subscriptions again, Swaymanka, Paper Thin Junior, Mike Gaming, Danger Mouse, and Barrow Racing. We do appreciate it a lot. Thank you for the support.
Oh, nature call there. Sorry, boys. Right. Petty Smith in pole, I see.
He still is. I was looking at Matthew Hodges. He had a decent lap with 3 green sectors. Currently in P18, but I think he's gone into the pit and on his out lap again.
I do love that McLaren with the backfire on it.
So currently on board with Paul Mounet.
Look at that. What a picture postcard that is.
Oh, while one of the Team Club Europe cars going very wide there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look. Is anyone on a hot lap?
And that was Martin Hobson, apparently, who went wide on board with Callum Brandt now. Currently in P15. Having a decent lap. Is he gonna put in a better lap time? I don't think he is. Still in P15. We see Jack Clifford jumping up to P25.
Mick Anderson jumping up to P8, 159.014. If we can pick someone on a faster lap. Luke McEwen actually has done a purple sector 3 at the moment.
Oh.
So is he going to challenge Peter Smith, who actually just did a purple sector? Well, his previous lap he did a purple sector 2, but I don't think he actually bettered his time.
And I think Luke went wide there. So I don't think that's going to help. Billy Fletcher up into P4 with a 158.6. Phil, maybe it's nice to get one onboard lap going on around Suzuka.
Yeah, let's have a look. Maybe Stephen Bird just about to start his lap, so we'll go on board with him.
For some fan immersion.
Fan immersion. Have we got sweaty cams tonight out of interest?
Well, that's a good point.
Looks very smooth, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, back nearly went.
Well held though. I think he didn't
And just corrected
lose
it.
a lot of time because of it. So far seems to be quite a decent lap. Joel Evans, currently by the way, also on a good lap.
And goes second, 158.54.
Very good lap by Joel Evans, well done. So there's only one driver left who still has to put in a qualifying time, and that's Jess White. I do hope that he knows that it's important to put the qualifying lap time in if you want to start from the grid. Otherwise, you'll have to start from pit lane.
Yeah. Cheers for the follow. Not going to read out the name.
Nope. I'll leave that one to Mark.
And there we go. That was the fun immersion lap.
Yeah, looks very decent from Stephen Bird. It's currently in P6. Phil, what's the overall interval time going from the leader? There you have it. Wow. P1 to P20, 1.2 seconds. And it looks like qualifying is showing what we were already talking about. Our current championship leader, Torres, is in P7 with the McLaren. Still got about 8 minutes left of qualifying, but
yeah. So Morgan Thompson's got a little bit of time to find. Paul Munet as well also finds himself back in P16. To find that little bit of extra time out of that McLaren to edge his way. Because where did Paul start last week? I believe he started in P4, P5. So
yeah, he had to spin, didn't he, early on?
Yeah.
Or an accident or something, didn't he?
Yep.
Never recovered. I mean,
Lewis Rose into P7.
I mean, looking as we normally do at times anyway, I think this might be a new record, but the top 20 are under a second apart.
It is. So although looking at Morgan Thompson or Adam Southgate, the championship winner of last season, yes, he's in P15, but it's only 0.7 of a second off pole time. So the gaps are extremely close. Oh, Stephen Bird goes into pole position with a 158.359. So the lap we were on board with, Stephen, looked like a good warm-up lap to put that fastest lap time in.
Let's go through the list. There's what 6 minutes left to qualifying. A little bit of time for the guys to get their laps in. The guys, quite out of position. Mark Fletcher currently sat in P9 at the moment, so also on an out lap. So yeah, we'll cut back to him in a second. I think Joel Evans is on a bit of a flyer.
So this could be quite an open race if the quality's anything to go by.
Yeah, it sure looks that way. No Ferraris anywhere near the top 20.
There's no Ferraris in the top 28.
We've actually only got one Ferrari in the session.
Exactly, he's 29. That's Stuart Winey's special shout out.
Thank you, Elmo. Have a good night.
Says Elmo.
Oh, only the details giving some information about Forster is always in the pits with the beers post-race for your information.
I do have a cup of tea actually, it's a bit parched in here. Bear with me, I'm just going to go and yell at someone.
Bit of understeer there going into that corner there. Who's lost the back end? That is not going to be a good lap.
Yeah, it looks like people are gonna have a tough race in hand tonight. Jaume Torres, who just stopped on track and immediately goes back out again.
Yeah, leaving it a little tight, should still get one stab at a hot lap.
Yeah, I reckon he will. Well, that's good to hear, mate. We love to see you back next season. Good evening, Falcon Sim. We are definitely doing well. Hope you are too. Good evening, Yannick. So we don't see any position changes at the moment. So Jaume is having a little bit of a struggle coming out of the airpin. Gonna let the Solar Sim Racing BMW pause. So I reckon that's gonna be Miles Owens, maybe. It's Matthew Hodges' teammate, right?
That's a good question, actually. Let me get through.
I think he is racing, wasn't he?
I don't see him actually in the list. So
He's not racing tonight, but he has been racing.
No, you're right. I thought he was racing, but no, apparently
You'll
not.
learn one
Yannick.
day, Ruben. You'll learn one day.
Well, I thought I saw his name, but apparently
No.
I was wrong.
Yep. Yeah. But don't despair. Have we got the hunk of eye racing tonight, haven't we?
Kieran Smart.
Yeah, he's
Down
definitely
22nd at the
Yeah,
moment.
Kieran Smart is the as ever. So looks like he's just had a bit of an
Yeah, he just
incident.
had a
I was
spinner.
looking away then,
There we
so
go.
yeah, I didn't see.
At the moment
Wicked
you were switching over to Kieran, he just spun the car around.
Is he
See,
on sweaty cam tonight?
every time we do this, that's when he has the spin. So maybe the sweaty cam isn't good luck for Kieran.
Well, or maybe he's listening. Can you give a little wave there? No. Okay. Whatever suits you. I remember we were doing it when
Favourite
Uncle
liveries.
Kirby was on the sweaty cam, wasn't it? Where he sort of seemed like he was reacting to the stream.
Favourite liveries? To be honest, it's a bit controversial. There isn't any good ones this season. That pains
Really?
me to say.
See, I disagree. I disagree because
Do you? But you're
let
wrong.
me just no, but you're never right. So let me just go through.
Come on in, let's see some liveries then. Let me go to the spotters quickly. Hold on.
Well, I like Kieran Smart's livery. It's
it's
I like the
okay.
black
It's
green.
okay. Yeah, it's all
It's
right.
just okay. It's smart. It's
It
like,
doesn't
no
get
pun
my
intended.
juices going.
It's a nice livery. It's like it literally is. It's a nice
I
livery.
like the old like in your face tango experience of a livery myself.
Well, finally it's over. Actually, Lewis
One you would
Rose.
to like to put on a
Like last
postcard and
season, we had
send
a
it.
couple of good ones. Last season,
Lewis Rose
spotters.
actually just jumped into P7 there on the last lap.
There you go.
Jumped about 3 or 4 spaces, so good lap there from him. I'm just seeing who is.
No, there isn't.
Morgan Thompson
I've just
actually
gone
might
through.
be on a bit of a flyer, but Billy Fletcher as well could be on a bit of a flyer. So,
Oh, and Luke just crashed the car with his teammate Mick Anderson following.
Oops.
So that's their qualifying done.
In fairness, the best livery is probably the CXR one.
And I'm sorry if I didn't hear it, but Nacho Gaspar is currently in P2 in front of Peter Smith, 0.003 of a second.
Ah, there we go.
Still on board with Morgan Thompson, coming up to the 130R. Really have to watch out on the exit of the 130R with that curb. Can really unsettle the car and put you straight into the wall on the left-hand side. So you don't want to use that curb too much. Going through the 130R flat out. We're almost flat out. Morgan Thompson doesn't better his lap time, stays in P14.
Chris Simmons. Yeah, just about to cross the line. Does Chris Simmons better his time? He doesn't know.
Ooh.
There we have it.
Trying to go across the line backwards.
Bring up the... Right, just wait for the
now we wait.
Yeah, gridding. Wait.
So Mark, you have a little debate on your hands there with only the details about their details racing livery, and while you can have that little debate, I'm gonna read out the... Oh, that's the championship standings, Phil.
Yeah, I know. Still waiting for the gridding.
All right, my bad. So it's quite interesting to see some people aren't there yet, but there we have it. The qualifying results for round 3 at Suzuka Grand Prix for the CXR Racing World GT3 Championship. Pole position this evening is for Stephen Bird. P2, Nacho Gaspar. P3, Peter Smith. P4, Joel Evans. P5, Luke McKeon. P6 is Billy Fletcher. P7, Lewis Rose. P8, Jaume Torres. P9, Mark Fletcher. P10, Stephen Feuders. P11, Mick Anderson. P12, Aaron Rose. And 13th is Elliot Harper. P14, Morgan Thompson. Adam Southgate, P15. Paul Mounet on P16. Callum Brand, P17. Matthew Hodges, P18. Mohamed Janko, P19. Martin Hobson, P20. Chris Simmons, P21. Kieran Smart on P22. Jack Clifford, P23. Dominic Furcher, P24. Jonathan Vinagre on P25. Dries Kader, P26. Daniel Merchant, P27. Miles Owens, P28. Stuart Wines, P29. And Jess White, who eventually qualified on P30.
And you didn't even have an asthma attack. Well done.
No, like I said last week, you get used to it. I can feel it.
Yeah, that's what all girls say.
So I can dance a tango right now, mate. That's how fit I am.
Well, as long as you tell me a postcard, I'll be fine, won't you? Right. So who are you going to put commentator's curse on tonight, then?
No.
Come on, you got to do it.
No.
No, I'm reluctant to as well because every time they always give someone bad luck, and I just don't want to do that. So I hope they all have a good race.
Though, I hope it's going to be as good as round 1 and 2 have been, because it's been some damn good racing we've seen in the first 2 rounds of this season. So, and especially with how close it is again, I do hope we're going to see a similar race with a lot of battles on track, no matter the position. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to this race in general. Mark?
Well, so you lot then. I'm going with Stephen Bird for a podium.
Oh,
because it's the only livery that's half decent.
While the pace car is coming in, Stephen Bird controlling the pace, and I think Stephen Bird is off. He is. He had an early start. Oh, and now Peter Smith. I think Peter Smith is gonna get the advantage with the actual pace of the BMW, the top end. And the same goes for Joel Evans. So immediately 3 BMWs on the first 3 positions. And Nacho Gaspar dropped 2 positions. It's Billy Fletcher in P5, Luke McKean P6, Jaume Torres P7, Mark Fletcher P8, Lewis Rose P9, Mick Anderson P10. So far so good. I don't think we have a lot of issues at the moment with people going off track or anything.
No, all looks clean so far, touch wood.
Yeah, and I think people will be a little bit cautious on, say, the first lap or maybe even the first 2 laps due to the tires being a little bit cold, of course, especially with that short run up to the start of the race. So that's definitely looking good. Oh, and there we had a little incident just before the hairpin. Not quite sure who that was. And it was Daniel Merchant who had a little bit of an off, so he dropped back just a little bit, not that much. Oh, and that's Mohamed Yanko going off track. Loses the back end of the car. We saw a little bit of red in front of his name, which means he has an off track. Here we see the replay. Oh, just gave Miles Owens a little tap on the back and lost the rear, but I think it was good for him that it was on low speed, so not a lot going on there. Some people off track. Oh, Billy Fletcher dropping quite a lot of positions, P24 now. And I think he even has some damage on the car, so let's see if we can get a replay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's quite obvious that that car is damaged. Had a car on the inside, a little bit of contact, and went straight into the wall on the outside of the 130R. Back on board with Joel Evans, trying to keep up with Peter Smith and Stephen Bird. Oh, nice little look on the strength of field.
Ooh. So I was just looking, currently Stephen Bird is leading. Pete Smith's gone up one position as Joel Evans, so second and third, and Nacho Gaspar has gone down to fourth. He's lost 2 places off the grid. Question for you, Phil, being the technical man, what's the strength of field tonight?
He just showed it on stream, mate.
Did he? Oh, I missed that.
2700k or 2.7k strength of field tonight.
Is that strong?
Which is a pretty decent strength of field in my opinion. Especially with the racing we've got going on in this league. Oh, look at that train of cars. I always love to see all those cars following each other so closely. On board with Dominic Förster, jumping over to Stephen Feuders from Team Club Europe, being followed by the McLaren, Morgan Thompson for CXR Project Black. Oh, coming down, or coming up to the back straight leading into the 130R. I mean, Morgan is quite close, but then again, that BMW has a really good top end, so on the straights he probably won't be able to get any closer. But look at the intervals though, Mark. Yeah, it's so freaking close to each other all still. I know the race has just begun, but
they are. But even though they are pretty tight, Stephen Bird, bear in mind, have just done 2 laps. He's nearly a second ahead already of Peter Smith, who is a second ahead of Joe Evans. So, but the rest of them, yes, they're all in a big train.
It's about 7/10 to Peter Smith. Peter Smith, I think he just set the fastest lap of the race, or at least he was the fastest this lap time around with a 1:59.0, if I saw that correctly.
Yes, you did.
Oh, a little battle between Callum Brandt and Adam Southgate. BMW versus the Audi. Going into the SS.
Callum just...
Some door-to-door banging, but that's what we want to see.
Out wrong, a bit of door-to-door banging.
It's definitely not. Definitely not. Switching over to Stephen Feuders. Oh, missed a little bit of the apex, and it looked like Morgan had a little look on the inside, but Stephen is still in front of Morgan. Looking at the intervals, looks like Billy Fletcher, pretty obvious, I think, has taken a pit stop. Used Vosper. Wow, Daniel Merchant on the inside there of Jess White. Tried to send it as well.
Just knocked on his door, literally.
Just a little bit, but it means that Billy, of course, has to come in for his regular pit stop.
Is that the Ferrari?
It is.
Why'd you got a Porsche livery? What's that about?
Oh, Kieran Smart lost the car right in front of him.
Ouch.
Seems like he spun it around.
Yeah.
I think on his own, looking at the gap he had to the Falcon sim racing car behind.
No? That's a bit odd. What's going on there then? Oh, there she goes. Hit the curb. Left rear, I think, might have just touched the grass on the inside of the curb there.
And I must say, he did pretty well to get off track as soon as possible. Thank you for the follow, Galtor. Oh, and he loses it again. Wow.
And he's showing off now.
Wow. Okay.
That's
And
the old
it's a
McDonald's
shame.
car
It's a
park
shame.
trick, that one.
It's a shame our production boy Phil just turned off the sweaty cam, because I wish that wasn't sweaty cam. But what a save there! Some pretty good car control. Unfortunately, he spun it again, of course. But
Hey, one job
wow,
does a good job, don't worry.
that was pretty good to see. Unfortunately, he's back in P28, so no
So,
points so far.
in amongst all that excitement, Stephen Bird on his last lap has now set the fastest lap at 158.88.
There you go.
So
Very quick
amply
around the
well.
track.
So Mark Fletcher now having a look at, is it Jaime Torres? I don't know what his name
Jaume.
is. Jaume, that's
As
it.
I understood, it's Jaume Torres.
Oh, thank you very much. Got to get that gurgly in my throat. And we're currently on boards, just fighting off Mark Fletcher behind him in the Audi. Currently 2 tenths behind. Rumour has it that McLaren's a little bit of a handful on this track for some reason. It's been pretty stable over most races, so still not so sure why it's struggling so much on this track.
I would like to say that it really shows, because Jaume Torres was pretty consistent and quick in the first 2 races. He did have some battles early on in those races, but in the end won it quite,
easily in the end.
easily, quite convincingly.
Yeah,
And there we have a spin of Morgan Thompson, losing it in the 130R. So I think we'll have to watch a replay. There you go. That's exactly what I felt with that car. It was just doesn't give you the confidence to take the 130R as you would like to. Another replay here, so we can see what actually happened. I think he just lost it on turn-in.
Meanwhile, Paul Meunier has gone into pit.
Yeah, I can tell you that the stewards has given some penalties. Paul Meunier was black flagged, as well as Luke McKeon.
Ooh. Who's currently 5th, so he's yet to serve his penalty. Is there, how many laps does he have to do it in? Was it 3?
It should be 3, yeah. Jaume Torres, in the meantime, while we were watching at the replay of Morgan Thompson's spin and hit in the barrier, dropped back to P8. Mark Fletcher now in P6 and Lewis Rose in P7. So he dropped back to position. But as I was going to say, it really shows that the McLarens just don't have the pace around this track. Obviously, Jaume Torres just lost those 2 positions, currently P8. We saw Morgan Thompson just losing the car a lap ago, currently in P18, and Paul Meunier with a drive-through. That's a little bit different, but in P28. And our first driver is out of this race, and that's Billy Fletcher, unfortunately.
Has he not got fast repair?
Oh, and I see an off-track for Callum Brett. Well, yeah, I don't know if something else happened, because he obviously used it after lap 1 with the contact on the turning in for the 130R. Let's have a little look what happened with Callum. Oh, and I think he just clipped the grass and turned in. And I don't want to spoil it, but I think we have another replay on our hands, and that's Jaume Torres dropping back to P14, having a spin.
Is it AstroTurf there or grass?
AstroTurf, and it goes into grass, and I think he just took a little bit of that exit curb at the exit of the 130R, and as I mentioned, I think it was in qualifying, it can be a very tricky curb. You do want to stay off of it, and he was fairly wide over that curb, and that you really saw that it unsettled the car. But there's a lot going on track, that's obvious. So the championship leader, Mark, currently in P14.
Not looking good. I'm just having a quick look. Peter Smith was second off the top of my head, so he's currently sitting in second. So
yeah, and I think Peter was on the same points as, was it Nacho Gaspar?
Yeah, Nacho Gaspar.
So I think both can do a really decent job for the championship as long as they keep it as it is. But we still, it really feels like we've already had 20 minutes of racing, boys, and it's only 11 minutes so far.
Time flies. Oh no, hold on, that's the other way, isn't it? Oh, who's that?
Yeah, I think
Morgan Thompson's gone
Morgan
again.
Thompson is again involved, and I also see another Audi, Jack Fielder Clifford, off track as well. Let's have a little look at what happened there. Again, Morgan Thompson just on turn-in, losing it. Ooh, and was there a little bit of contact between him and Jack Fielder Clifford? Maybe. Could be a little bit of netcode going on. Morgan waiting for the track to be clear to come back on track, but yeah, the boys in the McLaren's definitely struggling.
So for those ignorant like myself, netcode is what exactly? Is it touching without
Netcode,
touching?
well, it has to do with sort of internet connection issues, where sometimes you can be next to a car no matter where on track. That doesn't play an effect, but with a half car with room between the two, it still could feel like one car is touching the other. So
Right. So it sucks the.
um, yeah, so instead of having actual contact between the car, to sort of a air push, so to say. That's what Netco can do. I can tell you about a race I had in the TCRs at Spa one time where I had 1.5 car width between me and a guy that crashed, and it still sort of hit me as in an incident, and it totally wrecked my car. So yeah, Netco can be a pretty little beep to have, but it is what it is. That's really unfortunate for Callum Brandt. While I see a long red dot in front of Jess White's name as well, putting Paul Monet in P26 and Jess White dropping a position. But we're on board back in the battle for P1 with Peter Smith and Stephen Bird. I think Peter clawed a little bit of the time back of the gap he had to Peter.
So
Sorry, to Stephen.
Luke McKeown has served his penalty and he's come back out. He's currently 18th now, so he's 13 places down from his qualifying position. Just having a look at the runners and riders. Winners so far: Idris Kadir's gone up 9 places. Miles Owens has also gone up 9 places. And Martin Hobson and Chris Simmons have gone up 8 places. So they're the winners so far.
And while you were saying that, we saw a nice little overtake in the hairpin from Jack Clifford on Daniel Merchant. He licked it, he sent it, he stamped it like a postcard. So well done. Puts himself in P25. Dominic Forster. Oh no! Yeah, I'm sorry. I jinxed
Got
it.
all carried away there, didn't you?
I jinxed it.
No.
Such a nice move, and I think he looked like he did the same as Callum Brandt did 2 laps ago. While braking, putting his car on the grass, or just taking too much speed into it. Nah, definitely taking too much speed into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it a lift-off area that, or is it a braking area?
Braking. Unless you lift like 600 meters before or something, but yeah, normally it's a braking zone, and then probably a little bit of coasting while maintaining a little bit of speed going into that second left-hander, and then all the way full throttle out. I think you definitely want to focus on the exit of that second left-hander to get the best run onto that back straight to the 130R. And back on board with Kieran Smart, who's slowly catching up with some of the guys after his double spin early on in the race.
Now chasing down Daniel Merchant in front of him in 23rd.
Oh, and Jaume Torres again off track. And I think Callum Brandt in the Audi R8 for the Falcon Sim Racing was involved as well. Let's see what happens. Oh, just losing it under braking and turning into the double right-hander there just before the bridge. And I was wrong, there wasn't any other car involved, but yeah, once again, Mark, boys in the McLaren's struggling.
Yeah, I'm surprised though, because I'm trying to work out why everyone seems to be struggling so much. But saying that, the guys at the front seem to be keeping it on the tarmac so far. So
yeah, well, the thing that you can say though is that they're in the same car, so in the end they sort of struggle with the same characteristics.
That one.
Thank you for how the car handles. So maybe.
So what this race is demonstrating is go German, basically.
What?
I said this race, it's all German cars. 3 Beamers at the front on the podium,
Yeah,
2
no.
Audis and a load more Beamers.
Well, looking from P6 to P14, it's all BMW. It's definitely a BMW race, this one.
So
Although...
Luke McEwen going to have a little look on Dries Kader, 17th and 18th. As he holds it, trying to go around the outside.
Wow, very nice move by Luke. I think Dries went a little bit wide between turn 1 and turn 2, because I think it even showed a little bit of a red dot in front of his name, but still very well done by Luke, putting himself in P17. But
No,
yeah, the BMW
is... He's got Mr. Torres in front, hasn't he? So
yeah. Yeah.
So two that normally used to racing each other, but further up the grid.
So there's a nice little battle going on for P3 as well at the moment. It's Nacho Gaspar who seem to be able to put the fight on with Joel Evans for the last podium position. And looking at the current championship standings, I think that's exactly what he wants to do, to stay as close as possible to Peter Smith. But we are on board with Aaron Rose.
So there's a little train, I was going to say, there's a little train 8th, 9th and 10th, so you should be able to see him behind Aaron now, between Stephen Footers, Elliot Harper and Adam Southgate. So
yeah, when you join the stream for the first time, it more looks like like the BMW GT3 season that we're watching. But it's definitely not. It's the CXR Racing World GT3 Championship.
Bizarre, considering that
Suzuka.
Last season, I think there was only 2 or 3 BMWs being driven, wasn't there? And this season, there's loads of them.
Yeah. Miles Owens dropping back a couple of positions.
Bring back the Ford. Oh, God, don't start that again. We're not going to go into Ford Gate. Still, we're probably not doing GT3s next season, I doubt, so there won't be any Fords to worry about at all.
Gonna have to wait and see. So far, we're currently still on round 3. Well, here we on board. And Peter Smith is definitely picking up the pace.
Yep, starting to put a bit of pressure now on Stephen Bird.
Yeah, and the question is, will Peter think about his strategy? Maybe trying to save some fuel, trying to take his first in 1 lap, or maybe even 2 laps longer than the rest.
In the pit. I mean, that's what they've done the last couple of races, haven't they? You've seen positions gained and lost in the pit, so.
Yeah, but if he's able to even save more than what he needs to, well, or eventually he doesn't really need to save fuel, but if he can, which will help him into the race, making his stop even shorter, then, I mean, it's definitely something he can do. Having a little replay going on here for one of the Solar Sim Racing boys. It's Miles Owens going 3130R. And there you have it. Just clipping that outside curb.
It doesn't like it at all, does it? Is that the same curb, is it, that keeps on?
It's the same curb where we saw Jaume Torres go in off as well. But it's just, the edge of the curb is so high that when you go over it, it really unsettles the car, and especially on that high speed, the chances of losing it is, quite high. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Oh, and I think Kieran Smart just outbroke himself there going into the last chicane. And again, Phil switched over to Kieran. Oh, Phil, what you doing to Kieran, man? So here we're having a little replay of it, and I think he just misjudged the brake in there. Did well to avoid the Audi in front, and immediately decides to jump into the pit. So I think we've got the first regular pit stops going on here for Daniel Merchant and Kieran Smart.
Yeah, I suspect it will be similar to last week when they were coming in around the 24-minute mark, which was roughly lap 12 off the top of my head. Yeah, they all came in within a 2-3 lap window, didn't they?
Yeah. So Paul Monet, with his early drive-throughs, doing the best he can in the McLaren to come back in the point-paying positions. Currently in P21, still 8 seconds behind Dominic Förster.
So Nacho Gaspar is currently half a second behind Joel Evans, and that's what half a second looks like. And we got a little train here now. It seems to be growing. So Stephen Futers, Elliot Harper, Adam Southgate, Matthew Hodges, and Martin Hobson. All a second, less than a second apart.
Yeah, and I must say the Rose brothers both having a good race as well. Lewis in P6 with a quite comfortable lead over his brother Aaron in P7. And Aaron is under pressure by Stephen Futers still. Elliot Harper dropping back a little bit. About a second behind Stephen now. Adam Southgate also in that mix. All in the BMW.
So Paul Meunier is currently coming into the pit. And so is Miles Owen.
Oh, and I must say, it's a bit late that I'm reading it, but in the chat we had Billy Fletcher. He unfortunately had to end the race early on, and apparently Luke McKeon's black flag for causing a collision was that incident between him and Billy for going through the 130R, which, yeah, ends Billy's race. So that's really unfortunate, Billy. I hope you're still watching. And I hope you have some better luck next week. And Miles Owens into the pit. Paul Monet into the pit as well. Morgan Thompson and Mohamed Janko. Although Morgan Thompson 2 laps down. Mohamed Janko 4 laps down. So they don't really play a part anymore, but still keep it going.
So on board currently with Nacho Gaspar, trying to hunt down Joel Evans, which he's been doing for the last few laps. Can't seem to quite get more than about 0.3 of a second behind, so just going to try and keep the pressure on. Are they? I think they're racing.
Oh, Stephen Futers out of the top 10, the first one to pit mark.
Ooh.
Chris Simmons following him. But it's quite nice to see that we had some close battles going on up until P17 roughly. The gaps behind P17 are a little bit bigger, apart from Kieran Smart, who's 2 tenths behind Daniel Merchant. Well, we're currently looking at the battle for P3.
So Stephen Futers is currently gone out in 19th. He's the highest placed pitter to date.
Yeah, and he was in P8, so again it shows that they're not that
Very close, aren't they?
far off all. Here we are on board with Luke, P15, behind Jaume Torres from R70 Racing, one of the Spanish drivers.
Currently our championship leader.
So, Mark, if we would finish in 14th, how many points would Jaume get for his position?
Blimey, what's this? A maths question? God.
Wait,
14th.
mate, what's your nickname?
Oh, I've got several. Which one do you
Mark the Statsman. Oh, you're.
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you in a minute. Not a lot normally. It's 20, isn't
Oh,
it? So
that's
I'm guessing it's 5 or 6 points, but basically, if it sits as it is, Peter will go into the lead in the championship because he's currently second.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think Nacho Gaspar is definitely gonna hope and grab the position from Joel Evans because it will help him in the championship a little bit, staying as close as possible to Peter Smith, while Mark Fletcher is, he's just very close behind the two, so still a lot can happen. Mark Fletcher had two decent races, but I think he is really looking forward to grabbing a podium for his first podium this season.
Well, it's interesting to see what happens now because obviously Mark Fletcher is now caught up right behind Nacho Gaspar, who is still trying to get away past Joel Evans. So Mark's already having a little look just to let him know he's there.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Nacho was first full on in attack mode, but he now has to keep an eye on the mirror as well and be defensive if he wants to keep fourth place and not having Mark Fletcher grabbing it from him. Although, well, it looked like Mark was having a little go, but he didn't. So still in P5. But he's definitely putting the pressure on. Oh, Adam Southgate having a little spin, dropping back 2 positions. Hodges and Hobson both passing Adam. He lost it in the second left. And wow, Stephen Byrne and Peter Smith into the pit mark. Both coming into the pit. Yeah. Joel Evans following Mark Fletcher as well. Ooh.
Nacho staying out? Has he got enough fuel?
Nacho is staying out. That's interesting. That is really interesting. Lewis Rose coming into the pit. Aaron Rose coming into the pit. Pretty much everyone's coming into the pit. Although Martin Hobson is going to stay out as well. Callum Brand is going to stay out. But wow, that's interesting. That is really interesting. So, and there we have it. Peter Smith jumped Stephen Bird into the pit. So Peter Smith grabbed that position. Currently effectively leading the race because of the top 5 still have to make their pit stop. Oh no, Joel Evans having an off track. Oh no, that's not what we want to see. Joel Evans having such a good race. Had an off, I think it was in the SS, and even hit the barrier. Here we're having a little look. Just clipped the grass on the entry of the SS.
He got tangoed. No good.
Yeah, he hit hard. I hope for him that he unchecked his fast repair going in for his regular stop. But we'll have to wait and see. But it's really, really unfortunate for Joel Evans having such a good race up until that point. On board with Steven Feuders, who made an early stop compared to most of them.
Yeah, I'll stop a lot later than I was anticipating. Coming up to the half-hour mark now. 15 minutes left to go. So I suspect the remaining 5, as I say that, Nacho Gaspar is just diving in. Yep. I suspect the rest will follow.
Yeah, should be. Should be.
And yep.
Waiting for.
Is he going to come in? He's got to come in, isn't he? Yep, there he goes.
And Luke McKean following. So it's now waiting on Peter Smith.
So can Luke get out in front of Yame? We shall see.
Oh, he definitely will. But it's more, will he be in front of Nacho Gaspar? And I think he will. But it's, look at that top 3. That's going to be a close race.
Oh, Luke is
He's lost 50 minutes.
Luke is
Keep in mind, though, that Peter and Stephen pitted the lap early, so they've got warm tires. Oh, Joel Evans still going strong. Look at that.
Who
Scar,
needs a bum? Who needs a bonnet?
his
Make the
car
car
looks a little
lighter.
bit sick, but he's still going strong. Still in 6th position. Probably, well, if the car feels okay and he isn't losing that much time to Aaron Rose, then
This is a
he could
long
still
track.
finish in P6. But
It's a long track. 6, 7 laps to go.
well, it is. I mean, if he has saw some smoke in front of him, not quite sure who or what was that. Well, if he has somebody in his ear, thank you for the follow, Domingo Alonso. But as I was going to say, if he's got a real life spotter, as in one of his teammates, who's probably calculating like, okay, you're losing so much time per lap, you've got so many laps to go, is it worth to
Sure.
make that stop?
No, I
So
understand that. It's yeah, it's trying to find the right. I don't think he's going to stay 6th without sorting that. But like you say, he might be better off finishing 10th for argument's sake with that damage rather than pitting and finishing 15th or something. Yeah,
exactly.
So as you see there, just a little glimpse of where we are next week. We're at producer's second favourite track in the world after last week's one at Silverstone, back in Blighty, which I've got to say, bloody cold today.
Mick Anderson there with an overtake. With one of the Team Club Europe cars. Was that Chris Simmons? Took a little bit of off track with it, but then again, hey, we've got 17. Oh wow, look at that. Nacho Gaspar only 2/10 behind Stephen Bird. Stephen Bird about a second away from Peter Smith. Yeah, we definitely got an interesting last half or quarter of this race to go, Mark.
Yeah, last 12 minutes, last quarter. So yeah, let's see how it pans out. Hopefully I will not curse Stephen Bird with a podium. I was just having a little look at my screen thing here. I'm not sure if it's right, actually. It's saying Joe Evans has got up 20 places. I don't think that's right. Producer problems. That's what it is.
No worries. He's still in P6. About 1.2 seconds in front of Aaron Rose. So Aaron Rose is closing the gap.
Splitting the brothers. Meanwhile, going back into third position. Oh, there's a little mistake there.
Yeah, Stephen Bird again clipping that outside curb in the 130R.
He's going to squeeze him out? No.
And now the top end of the BMW probably is going to come into play. So I reckon Stephen Bird will stay ahead of Nacho Gaspar. We'll have to wait and see.
First corner.
We'll have to wait and see. Side by side still. And there we have it, Stephen Bird again in front of Nacho. Wow, what a battle. Good stuff, but it's going to play in the hands of Peter, Mark. He's now 1.8 seconds, make it 1.9 in front of him.
Well, you see it. I think the beam is starting to slide around a little bit as well, looking at it. Doesn't look as sure-footed as it did earlier on.
Yeah, the Audi seems to be a little bit more stable. I do agree with that one.
Just having a little look further down, Yami Torres got past Luke McKeon somewhere. Not sure where. I think Luke had a little issue after he come out of the pit, actually. Cast my mind back, but they're having a little bit of a ding-dong there. They're both on the back of Chris Simmons in 15th. Just on board with Yami now. See now, sun's starting to set. You know what that means, Ruben? Picture postcard time.
We're dancing a tango.
Didn't Phil say £1 for every time you say postcard?
What is it?
Hey. You'd be back on the old tins of soup, wouldn't you?
So the battle for P8 is also still going on. Stephen Feuders being followed by Elliot Harper and Martin Hobson. And it's definite that Aaron Rose has caught up with Joel Evans. It's now under a second with roughly 8 minutes of racing to go. So how much of a battle is Joel gonna put up there to keep his position? To wait and see. But back on board with the battle for P2 between Steven and Nacho. Just seems like the Audi as well can take such tighter lines compared to the BMW.
Yeah, it looks a little bit more sure-footed, doesn't it?
But he definitely seems to be
You see it
struggling to
there.
get past.
Seem to have a better line through there.
Yeah, you can keep it on the outside. I think you'll get a little bit better drive out of it. And with the next 2 turns being a right-hander, that will give you the best position. I think are we going to see a little tap between the two while Necho was trying to go for the overtake. Again, door to door, but he's backing out of it a little bit, tucking in behind Steven. But 2.8 seconds of lead now for Peter, who will be smiling looking at that interval.
Yeah, it's getting bigger, Ruben. It's nearly 3 seconds now. Still, Nacho Gaspar.
Are we going to see a little look on the inside here at the 130R? No, we're not. Is he going to try and have a little look into that chicane? Nope, Steven stays off that curb now, stays in front of Nacho, and they will go on to that main straight. But I think, as I said before, the top end of the BMW will come into play, so I don't think Nacho will gain a lot here. Mark Fletcher isn't that far off as well, though, 1.8 seconds. So if anything happens, for all we know, Mark Fletcher could end up second even. So
yeah, he's got a little bit of work to do, but we'll see how.
yeah, he's close enough for when something really happens and both of the cars spun out or spin out or crash, whatever they do. He's close enough behind it to grab something.
Certainly knows Stephen Bird has the pace. He has got the fastest lap of the race so far at 158.88. In fact, the only person in the 158s.
Oh, there you go.
So it's just a case of trying to block out that rather large Audi behind him in his mirror.
Well, I think some have to. I think some have to practice on their pit stops. Try to
gain some time.
Get the maximum out of it, because again, Peter Smith, that's where he, for now, has won the race, but the race isn't over yet. And to finish first, you first have to finish, isn't it?
That's right. Yes, that's a good saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that like I made it up. I mean,
no,
it's very good copycat.
No, it's very true.
Right, Jaume Torres currently P14 with Luke McKeon right behind him, and both are following Mick Anderson. So I think Jaume is trying to keep the damage to a minimum, although yeah, even if he would grab P13, it's still probably not where you wanted to finish. But look at the train of cars for P6 behind Joel Evans. Joel Evans still keeping P6 in front of Aaron Rose, Stephen Feuders, Elliot Harper and Martin Hobson. So looking at the current lap times of the leaders, Peter Smith with a 2:01, and Steven, Nacho and Mark all three in the 1:59s, although we're only talking about 0.3 of a second.
Ooh, it's the most exciting part of the night.
I think what were you looking at? I think something happened. Driver of the day. Well, Mark, explain what the viewers can do.
It's quite easy. You get everyone to log into the stream, all your family and friends, and get them to type in the number of the driver you're going to vote for. And it's the number on the scrolly part of the screen on the right, not the car number, not the position number, and not any random number like I've done before. And it's all in alphabetical order.
If you want to keep it random, which you can do, just choose a number between 1 and 35.
Yeah, by all means.
But yeah, just put in a vote for your teammate, your friend, or just someone who you've been following this whole race and think he deserves it to be driver of the day, while we look at a replay of Pulmonay in the McLaren.
Again, same corner, isn't it? That little thing
same
there.
corner, same curve,
result.
losing the back end of the car. And
So
he got
currently,
it going again.
I was going to suggest a few drivers, but I think my positioning thing has gotten a bit peaked on because it's been reset. So Peter Smith obviously didn't start in pole. He was currently leading the race. I might have to go with Stephen Bird.
Oh, for shit! That's not working. Do we have 115 drivers, Phil? Oh, Stephen Bird lost the position.
Oh no!
Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear!
That's your fault, Ruben.
No, I didn't put a curse on anyone. But what happened here? I think there was some contact. It looked like Stephen Bird may got in a little hot into the chicane, but there definitely was some contact between Nacho. Maybe we can have a little onboard view from
he did.
Nacho.
Yeah, he took his back wheel there. Oh, I'm not so sure. Well, that gives the boys in race control. That is.
Yeah, that's definitely something they're going to look
pulled
into.
up for that.
So we'll have to keep an eye on the decisions from race control. But for now, that puts Nacho Gaspar in P2 with honorary second Mark Fletcher in P3.
Yeah,
so
we called that. So
yeah,
not quite as we anticipated, but he's there.
Well, it is something I said for Mark Fletcher, of course, having the possibility to even finish in a higher position as it was at that time. But we'll have to wait and see. And there we already got the confirmation. Nacho Gaspar is being black flagged by race control for causing a collision. So that's gonna cost him. That is gonna cost him.
So that puts Stephen Bird into third, in theory. But of course, the real winner out of all this will be Peter, because that gap is ever increasing.
As long as he keeps the car on track until the end of the race, then he is.
Cool. He's only got another lap to do. Have some faith.
Keep in mind that the exit of the 130R is at the end of the track, at the end of the lap. So as long as he stays away from that outside curb, then he should be fine.
Just having a little look. Where is he? Yeah, it's going to be another lap. Yep. Just seeing where he is on track.
But I have to say hats off to Joel Evans for driving with that damage on the car and still being in P6.
Yeah, fair play to him. It's not often I have to eat a bit of humble pie there.
I can tell you that's why Joel Evans got my vote.
Oh, yeah, that's a point. I need to vote someone, don't I? So Nacho Gaspar is gone into pit to service drive-through, which will let Stephen Bird through. So it's more a case of where Nacho will get out. Joel's gone down a couple of places. No, he's gone back up. That's okay.
Oh, and he's stopping the car, but he had a penalty. That's penalty we serve in this league, so but that's even costing him more places.
Damage. He might be stopping for damage, I assume.
I don't think so, but yeah, well,
he's sitting there.
We're not quite sure. In the meantime, his teammate Jaume Torres currently in P12, looking at the back of Mick Anderson, who's not that far off Adam Southgate.
Well, on game 4.
And if our production manager doesn't mind, I would like to have a little look at Joel Evans as well. Because even because of that whole incident with Nacho Gaspar, he's currently even in P5. Coming on to the final section of the track. Double left-hander leading onto the back straight, onto the 130R. But we're on board with the leader, Peter Smith.
Coming into the last section.
Yeah, the final chicane. Right-hander, and he grabs the win for round 3 of the CXR Racing World GT3 Championship. So
Hey,
well done
Fletcher.
to Peter. Finishing in
5
P2,
seconds ahead.
Mark Fletcher.
Got even bigger, Ruben.
Yeah. P3, Stephen Bird. P4, Lewis Rose. Well done by Lewis as well. Joel Evans. Finishing
Someone voted for Billy Fletcher on Driver of the Day. That must be Billy.
No, actually, it was one of the race control folks.
Ah.
Or even a couple more than that. In the meantime, Joel Evans, what a drive from Joel, even with his crash, finishing in P5, Elliot Harper P6. And yeah, everybody finishing. Cheers for the follow. I think it's a Scottish Scot.
So is he from Scotland then? We'll have to get Phil to doing his accent.
Well, he's very good at Australian, although we haven't heard it a lot last week at Bathurst. White, Daniel Merchant still has to finish, as well as Miles Owens and Kieran Smart. Currently on board with Kieran Smart. I think he's one of the last drivers to finish the race. All right, yeah, I recognized his name from Mark's stream, I guess. So welcome. Welcome to the CXR stream. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it.
There really are some dodgy usernames out there, isn't there?
Well, a Scottish Scot isn't that dodgy. That's fine. But there was another one that followed this today that I'm not going to pronounce. I said it last week, and that was.
Is he the brother of the one you pronounced last week?
Well, last week was a lot better than this one, so yeah, I'll keep it at the. I'll keep it at last week. But yeah, that's round 3 done. Scottish Scott, yeah, your friend Mark did a really good job finishing in P2, but we're gonna have a look at the standings, and Mark is gonna point them all out for you.
Breath and read them out.
Yeah, just gonna go to the results for you guys and get the screen.
And there we go. So Peter Smith takes his first win of the season and is now our championship leader. Second was Mark Fletcher. Good finish from him in the end. Stephen Bird, who I tipped for a podium, does in fact finish on a podium. So Ruben owes me some money. Lewis Rose in 4th, Joel Evans 5th, Elliot Harper 6th, 7th was Aaron Rose, 8th Callum Brandt, Martin Hobson in 9th, Adam Southgate 10th, Yame Torres in 11th, Luke McKeon in 12th, Chris Simmons 13th, Matthew Hodges 14th, Dries Kadir in 15th, 16th was Nacho Gaspar, 17th was Dominic Forster, Mick Anderson in 18th, 19th was Stuart Wineys, where am I? I've lost my train of thought now. 20th, Daniel Merchant. 21st, Miles Owen. Kieran Smart finishes 22nd. Stephen Futers in 23rd. Paul Munier in 24th. Jonathan Vinagre in 25th. Jez White 26th. Jack Clifford 27th. Morgan Thompson 28th. And Jack Clifford in 29th. And Billy Fletcher bringing up the rear in 30th.
In the meantime, yeah, Falcon Sim. It's unfortunate Luke got the penalty. It's a decision made by race control. We can't do anything about it. I haven't seen it. We only saw the incident. So it is really unfortunate for Luke. But yeah, at this point, it is what it is. We do know Luke is a very good driver. So we hope to see him next week for another good race. And let's just keep it at that. I think we saw an awesome race with a lot of battles on track. Some great racing. A couple of incidents, nothing major, and especially a lot of people just losing the car, either on spinning around, grabbing a curb, anything going on. So, yeah, it was a good race. Good round 3.
Championship standings on screen for you.
Standings. Yep. so championship standings currently, as I've said earlier, Peter Smith currently leading on 67 points. Yami Torres, despite a poor finish today, is still second on 60 points. Mark Fletcher now going up into third on 56. And Stephen Bird has also gone up a couple of places into fourth on 50.
Oh, there you go. Phil and Mark, we've got 3 people waiting in the interview. Of one of them are 2 podium drivers and our other league racer, Matthew Hodges. So I'll leave it up to Phil to grab one of them and get him into the commentary box. And there we have it, Peter Smith, the winner of tonight's race. So well done, Peter, great race. How did you feel when we saw you going for a slightly shorter stint than most of the top 10? So was that a decision strategy-wise, or what was going through your head? I'm not quite sure if Peter is talking, but he's got his mic muted.
Well, that's gone well.
Yeah, well, it's such a nice interview, this one.
That's what I like to see. Man had lost for words. Got very emotional, obviously, with his win.
Or maybe taking a quick bathroom break. Well, let's otherwise have a look if Mark or Matthew is in the possibility to come in for a little chat.
Nothing like a bit of live drama, eh?
So good.
Maybe we need to refine this.
Oh, there we have Peter. There we
Hello?
have Peter.
Oh,
Can you hear me now? Hey.
Yeah. Good evening. Well, first of all, well done on your race.
Thank you.
I think you'll be very pleased with the outcome of winning tonight's race at Suzuka. But as I said before, you stopped, I think, a lap earlier than all the other guys in the top 10. So was that a move strategy-wise, or what was the decision on going a lap earlier than the others?
Well, come in behind Stephen. I didn't have the fuel to do another lap, so that was that was the stint.
You're usually quite tight on the old fuel, looking at.
Stephen was fast. I could only fuel save that fraction to get past him in the pit.
Yeah, because when you came out of the pit together with Stephen, you were about 2/10 in front of him, so you did jump him for the position, taking over the lead of the race. And then obviously behind you, you had the battle going on between Peter and Nacho. I don't know if you got anything from it, but you obviously have seen that you maintained a good lead of 5 seconds in the end.
Yeah, I was watching Stephen and Nacho have a battle, holding each other up a little bit, which allowed me to get a little bit of a gap. And I think looks like, to me on the relative anyway, I haven't watched it back yet, but they had a little incident, 130R or chicane.
It was on the chicane, I think it was, just before the start finish.
Which is unfortunate for Stephen, because he is having an absolutely cracking race.
Yeah, well, I put a commentator's curse on the poor sod, but he did finish on the podium as I predicted, so, you know, win-win.
What I do want to know, Peter, is did you have any exciting moments on this track? But tonight we saw a lot of people struggling with the cars. The BMW definitely seemed to be the quickest car for tonight's race at Suzuka. But did you have any moments where you thought, oh, there was a little bit close to maybe having a little spin or something, or was the car okay?
No, car was good. I had a little bit of a moment on the brakes into the hairpin. Other than that, you're just wishing the thing would turn.
And was that after a couple of laps, or how quickly was that coming into play?
First couple of laps, the car's amazing, but this track seems to be a bit of a tyre eater and heats up tyres. So from lap 5, it is like you're driving on ice.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's not nice.
Well, your finishing position puts you in the championship lead for now. Obviously, last season you had a very good run as well, and unfortunately one race ended your championship win, maybe. So how are you looking forward to next week at Silverstone?
I think it's going to be a bit closer than this week. The McLaren wasn't really a good car this week, it seemed. The BMW was good, and the Audi was the Audi. It behaved itself just. They just needed to drive it with caution. So Mark and Nacho did a great job with the Audi around here. So I think it's going to be similar at Silverstone. I'm hoping anyway.
Right. Well, again, well done on your win, mate. Congrats, and we're looking forward to see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great
Take
stream
care.
as always. I'll watch it back in a minute.
No problem.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Okay.
Good evening, Mark.
Hello, how are we doing?
Yeah, we're good, mate. How are you? You had a pretty decent race. I think you started a little bit, well, maybe not in the position you wanted to. You seem to be struggling a little bit in qualifying, but how did your race went so far?
Yeah, as you can probably see, qualifying's not really my strong point at the minute. I'm still getting used to the Audi after spending 2 years in the Ferrari.
Yeah.
But yeah, from P9, it was playing the championship game already. I learned last year that only a bad result somewhere can really knock you down in the championship. So yeah, Luke was saying to me on the radio, so just take it easy. Let's get round the first couple of laps. And yeah, the race set was absolutely flying. It was a brilliant car to drive.
Yeah, you were really settling into the race. We already saw that you were catching up the battle between P2 and P3, and obviously in front of you, it all went down in the last laps where the incident occurred between Nacho Gaspar and Steven. So yeah, that obviously played into your hands. But how was the Audi compared to the BMW, you reckon? Because, as you say, it is still a car that you're getting used to. We just heard Peter saying that the BMW was good for the first couple of laps, and then it started to feel like it was driving on ice. How was that in the Audi?
I feel it was the other way around for the Audi. We know the BMW's quick in a straight line. I think at one point Luke said there was 11 BMs out of the top 14, so it was nice that me and Nacho were mixing it in together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was brilliant. The car was really good. It was stable all the way through the race, and I think from what we were seeing, I was closing quite a lot due to the last sort of after the pit stop. So whether it was putting a bit of pressure on those guys in front that made Nacho go for the move, but yeah, you got to be there when these kind of things happen.
Yeah, exactly, because I was saying it on stream as well to Mark. At one point you were 2 seconds behind, and I called it like, well, if anything happens between the two, because they were battling hard for position, with you only being like 2 seconds behind, a lot can happen. And you could grab some good positions, which in the end you obviously did. So well done to you, Mark. Looking forward to next week, Silverstone?
Yeah, I did a lot of testing at Silverstone actually for the IMSA last week. I think I'm over at the minute over 200 laps at the minute there. So yeah, really good. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, some more points need to come from that meeting. Really, I think the Audi is going to be the quicker car there. So that'll be interesting to see.
Definitely interesting to hear as well. I think before the start of this race, you were tied on points for, I think it was P4 and P5, if I'm correct. Mark can probably say that, but yeah, with this result, puts you a lot closer to the top 3 in the championship. So, as you said, looking from last season, trying to get a good position or a good finish every race. Yeah, you're looking forward to the rest of the season, I reckon.
Yeah, it should be really good. I really enjoyed the series. It's great to watch. It's great to watch the stream back from you guys as well. It's all close racing. And you've just, like I said, you just got to capitalise on when the top boys make the mistake and be there. So,
yeah, well, I couldn't agree more. Well, Mark, cheers. Congrats on a good position tonight, and looking forward to see you next week.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for having me in.
Cheers.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good night.
Cheers. Thank you.
Good evening, Matthew.
Good evening, guys. How's it going?
Yeah, we're doing good. If I say so for myself, Mark, and Phil, we just had a great race at Suzuka. Obviously, you were part of it, looking at some nice replays from you. Yeah, how did you take away this race?
Well, I started okay, had a decent run. A few people in front made mistakes, and I was running strongly, running close behind Adam, and he made a mistake on the exit of Spoon, and I was deciding which way the car he was going to end up ultimately going. I dove left, but then I had to ultimately go right, which this was just before the pit stops, which lost me a little bit of time there. But I think I was in about 10th or 11th then. Looking fairly strong, not ultimate pace, but keeping it solid, 0x, and that then coming out about turn 7, the left-hander, before the two Degners lost the back. It had a bit of understeer actually, and the one wheel touched the grass ever so slightly, and it went a bit, and I slid and just donked up against the barrier with no major contact, but I had to wait for about 4 or 5 cars to go past before I could get reverse in and point it the right direction. But looking good other than that. But no, I was quite happy enough with running, at least get some points out of it today anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all know that from P1 to P20, it's a points position. So grabbing some points in this championship is always nice to have. And we do know that being low on the incident points at the end of the season, being out of top 10, you have to be out of top 10, but it will can give you some reward. But yeah, so far you had a pretty good, decent race, looking good so far in the BMW Z4. How was the car feeling for you today?
It was pretty good actually. Fairly docile for the most part, apart from that where the one corner where I had a bit of a mistake, and
yeah,
it felt pretty good though. It was fairly solid, ultimately fairly quick, and I was able to keep it on the track without too many incidents and moments. So it's a nice car to drive. You kind of point and squirt it, I think, more than the Ferrari, which you can really muscle around.
Yeah.
But that was last season.
Right, so we've got Silverstone next week, round 4 of the championship coming up. What are your thoughts on Silverstone? Love
it. One of my favourite tracks. I'm hoping for at least a strong performance and a decent race, but we'll see how it pans out. But it's a good track with some good racing, and it's wide enough to run a couple of cars wide, 2 or 3 cars around certain corners, so you can have a battle with people and line cars up into certain straights. So it should be good fun.
Okay, well, very good to hear. Yeah, I think that wraps it up for tonight. I'll thank you for joining us in the commentary box, Matthew.
It's a pleasure.
Great, well done on your race, and yeah, we'll have to see you next week at Silverstone.
That's great. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
So there we have it.
Yeah, there we
runners and riders from today's race. We got anyone else? Well, I presume it was just 3 we had, wasn't it?
It was just
those were the 3 we had. But yeah, nice for them to join us for a little bit of insight from the drivers themselves for tonight's race.
Yeah, so next week we are at obviously the absolutely beautiful Silverstone. For hopefully one of the best races of the season. Although, I mean, to be honest, we've been spoiled so far. I mean, that was an amazing race. What we had Bathurst last week, which again kind of blew my mind. I mean, you don't normally see that many cars going around Bathurst on the first lap and not actually having that many incidents. I mean, was there an incident? I think one driver went off track, but I think that was his own doing, and I don't believe anyone else.
Yeah, I think it was in turn 2, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so a little moment.
I mean, realistically, when you look back on that, I mean, yeah, you got to be impressed. It was good to see. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to Silverstone next week. We will be back same time, 8:15 next week, next Wednesday evening. So cheers everybody for watching. Cheers to Ruben and Mark for their awesome commentary, and cheers to all the drivers, race control as well, for the perseverance of going through all the decisions, obviously, yeah, in the league. So yeah, we will catch you next week, 8:15. Cheers guys, and we'll catch you next week. Bye bye.
See you next week.